Hello everyone. Today I'd like to talk about the values of alternative energy resources. Here's my two audience members. We'll start off the discussion with alternative fuel sources. Today's gas prices are outrageous, costs ranging between $3 to $4, and in my opinion, our lives are directly affected by the prices of fuel. One of my pickup trucks averages 8 miles to the gallon, and if I drove it every day, I would not be able to afford the basic luxuries that I have, such as cable, going to see movies, a fancy cell phone, and even going to a baseball game. Because of the high cost of fuel, I bought a hybrid Prius that averages 40 miles to the gallon, and it obviously is 5 times more fuel efficient than my very large pickup truck. And it'll pay for itself in fuel savings in another 4 years. If I average 1,000 miles a month, I would need 125 gallons of fuel to drive my truck, which would cost me $440 today with fuel prices, compared to the 25 gallons of fuel I use to drive my car, which will only cost me $88 a month. I save $352 a month, which is $4,224 that I can use every year to go on a very nice vacation or even just keep up on my bills. A newer technology is a hybrid vehicle that runs on hydrogen. Honda Motors has been a key engineer in making the new hydrogen fuel cell powered vehicles, and it has created a vehicle known as the Honda FCX Clarity. The Clarity averages 60 miles to the gallon, and the fuel source is selling for an average of $1.20 to $1.50 a gallon. So it would need 16.5 gallons of hydrogen for my average monthly travel, and only cost me $25. That's well over $5,000 I could save every year. There are so many more ways to save money and help the earth at the same time. Wind power is currently the fastest growing source of electricity production in the world. You can look all over and see how some places are saving money and helping the earth at the same time. Just like on our own Owens campus, we have a very large wind turbine outside. A wind turbine generates electricity by converting the mechanical energy it receives from the wind turning its propellers into AC current. Here are some very interesting facts I found about wind turbines. Between 2008 and 2012, wind has provided 36.5% of all the new generating capacity in the United States. Windmills have been used since 2000 BC and were first developed in China and Persia. Google has invested $5 billion in a new underwater transmission line to connect offshore wind farms in the Atlantic Ocean with over 1.9 million households on the East Coast. A single wind turbine can power 500 homes. In 2012, the Shepherd's Flat Wind Project became the largest online wind project in the United States. It created 845 megawatts, breaking the record previously held by Roscoe Wind Farms, which made 781.5 megawatts. In 2012, the roughly 140 million megawatt hours generated by wind energy avoided 80 million metric tons of carbon dioxide, the equivalent of reducing power sector CO2 emissions by 3.5%, or removing 14 million cars from the roads. There's enough onshore wind in America to power the country 10 times over. New investments in wind energy projects installed during 2012 amounted to $25 billion. Most wind turbines, approximately 95%, are installed on private land. Modern wind turbines produce 15 times more electricity than a turbine did in 1990. At times, wind project energies produce more than 25% of electricity on the Texas power grid. American wind power is a $10 billion a year industry. Unlike nearly every other form of energy, wind power uses virtually no water. By 2030, U.S. wind power will save nearly 30 trillion bottles of water. At times, wind power produces as much as 45% of electricity in Spain. Wind energy became the #1 source of new U.S. electricity generating capacity for the first time in 2012, providing some 42% of all new generating capacities. In fact, 2012 was a strong year for all renewables, as together they accounted for more than 55% of U.S. generating capacities during the fourth quarter of 2012. Texas led the nation in new wind installations with 1,289 megawatts, followed by California, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Iowa. 70% of all U.S. congressional districts are home to an operating wind project, a wind-related manufacturing facility, or both. At the end of 2012, the United States was home to 45,100 wind turbines operating across 890 wind projects. Right now, 560 wind-related manufacturing facilities produce a product for the U.S. wind energy industry across 44 states. Both Nevada and Puerto Rico had their first utility scales project during 2012. In 2000, more than 60% of U.S. wind power capacity was installed in California, with 17 states hosting utility-scale wind turbines. Today, 39 states and Puerto Rico share 60 gigawatts of utility-scale wind project developments. Wind energy development was partially responsible for the fourth quarter increase in 2012 economic growth, according to the article in USA Today. The growth was partly due to developers trying to complete projects for the production tax credit expired by the end of the year. Another very valuable energy alternative is solar power. In Perrysburg, there's a very large solar company known as First Solar. Not only has it employed over 300 people in our area, they also have created 32,500 solar panels, working together with local businesses GEM, JDRM Engineering, and LKL Engineering. They installed 3 rooftop arrays over 2 buildings at the company's location in Ohio. The partnership not only stimulated the local economy, but also continued to generate enough electricity to power approximately 240 homes, displacing 1,830 metric tons of carbon dioxide and taking equivalently 350 cars off the highway. Every hour the sun beams onto the earth, more than enough energy to satisfy global energy needs for an entire year. Solar energy is the technology used to harness the sun's energy and make it usable. Today, the technology produces less than 0.1% of global energy demand. Many people are familiar with the so-called photovoltaic cells or solar panels found on things such as spacecrafts, rooftops, and even our handheld calculators. The cells are made of semiconductor materials like those found on computer chips, and when the sunlight hits the cell, it knocks little electrons loose from their atoms. As the electrons flow through the cell, they generate electricity. On a much larger scale, solar thermal power plants employ various techniques to concentrate the sun's energy as a heat source. The heat is used to boil water to drive a steam turbine that generates electricity in much the same fashion as coal and nuclear power plants, supplying electricity to thousands of people. In one technique, long troughs of U-shaped mirrors focus sunlight on a pipe of oil that runs through the middle. The hot oil then boils water for electricity generation. Another technique uses movable mirrors that focus the sun rays on a collector tower, where its receiver sits. Molten salt flowing through the receiver is heated into the generator. Other solar technologies are passive. For example, big windows placed in the sunny side of a building allow sunlight to keep heat-absorbent materials on the floor and walls. These surfaces then release the heat at night to keep the building warm. Similarly, absorbent plates on a roof can heat liquid in the tubes that supply a house with hot water. Solar energy is lauded as an inexhaustible fuel source that is pollution and noise-free. The technology is also versatile. For example, solar cells generate energy for far-out places like satellites in Earth's orbit and cabins deep in the Rocky Mountains, as they easily can power downtown buildings and futuristic cars as well. But solar energy doesn't work at night without storage devices such as batteries, and cloudy weather can make the technology unreliable during the day. Solar technologies are very expensive and require a lot of land area to collect the sun's energy at rates useful to lots of people. Despite the drawbacks, solar energy has surged at about 20% a year over the past 15 years. Thanks to the rapidly falling prices and gains in efficiency, Japan, Germany, and the United States are major markets for solar cells. With tax incentives, solar electricity can often pay for itself in 5 to 10 years. Today we've talked about all the alternative energy sources for our cars, either hybrid electric or hydrogen-powered vehicles, and also 2 very large alternative energy sources, wind turbine and solar power. I hope that maybe some of my facts will change your opinions on the value of saving our planet by using alternative energy sources. Thank you.